What's up, YouTube? Jeff, your Style O.G. And on today's video, we're going to discuss 10 of the worst relationship mistakes us guys tend to make. If you're new to the channel, we release a new video every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, discussing various men's lifestyle topics such as style, grooming, and dating. I invite you to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and join us. And to my returning friends like Michael Bullock, salute. Now, whether you're in a new relationship or a long-term one, you probably want it to last. And you definitely don't want it to be your fault if it doesn't work out. And there are some mistakes, some big, some small, that guys make in relationships that can lead to their downfall. And that's what I want to help you avoid on today's video. On today's video, I'm going to share with you 10 of the worst relationship mistakes us guys make and how you can avoid them. So without any further delay, let's hop right into it. First up on the list of the relationship mistakes us guys tend to make is a very foundational one. That's not realizing that men and women are different, and that's okay. Here's what I mean. Generally speaking, men tend to see things very logically, very analytically, whereas women tend to view things through the prism of emotion and feelings. Neither is better than the other one. You see, your logical way of thinking adds structure and it adds stability, whereas her emotional approach adds passion, fun, excitement, color. Both are needed, both in human beings and in relationships. You'll balance each other out. Yes, sometimes your logical approach can be frustrating to her, and her emotional way of approaching things can be frustrating to you. Yes, sometimes you're gonna want her to see things in black and white, and sometimes she's gonna need you to see the passion, the excitement, the color in the relationship. Both are needed, yin and yang, feminine and masculine. The structure and stability your logic-based approach brings will help you avoid this next problem. That's making the mistake of acting like a boy and not a man. Here's what I mean. A man is decisive. He gets things done. He's purpose-driven. A man treats his woman well, but he doesn't put her on a pedestal. A boy, on the other hand, goes overboard. He has some mommy issues. He'll go out of his way to please mommy. And when he brings that into a relationship, he gets pushed over. He puts a woman on a pedestal. You see, the thing is, a woman respects a man who stands his ground, speaks his mind, and often says no. No woman truly wants a pushover. Now, a woman who's not that interested in you, she'll take advantage of you being a pushover, but she won't respect you. There's nothing wrong with treating your woman well and being kind, but don't overdo it. Don't put her on a pedestal. A man gives from the kindness of his heart, but he doesn't let someone take advantage of him. He acts like a man, not a boy. Now, next up on the list of mistakes can tend to be a huge one. That's if you're overly jealous. You see, the thing is, being a little jealous from time to time is natural. Us guys tend to be territorial creatures. But if you find yourself being overly jealous, that can be a huge problem, mostly because of what it can reveal. Someone who's overly jealous is either very insecure or there's a serious lack of trust in the relationship, or both. Take some honest self-analysis. You know if you're being overly jealous, and if you find you are, here's what you want to do. First, take a look. See if your jealousy is actually warranted. Take the emotion out and think logically. Is there reason to be jealous? If so, talk to her about it. After you're doing some self-analysis and you realize you're a little overboard with it, work on your insecurity. Work on building your self-confidence, not only for the relationship, but for yourself. Yes, you're supposed to be a little territorial, but if you're overly jealous, it will be a turnoff. It can ruin your relationship. Now, one huge source of insecurity for a lot of guys out there is the inability to perform sexually because of erectile dysfunction. And most of the guys who suffer with ED do so in silence. They find it very difficult to talk about. If this sounds anything like you, I highly recommend you talk to the good people at today's video sponsor, Roman. Roman is a digital health clinic for men. It's an online platform that allows you to be evaluated, diagnosed for, and receive treatment for ED, all from the comfort and privacy of your very own home. Now, a lot of guys who suffer from ED think they're alone. But did you know that 52% of men will suffer from some form of erectile dysfunction at one point in their life? And the great thing about Roman, getting started treating your ED is very simple. All you have to do is go to getroman.com/style and complete an online visit. And after your evaluation from a licensed U.S. healthcare professional and you gain a prescription, Roman can send effective FDA-approved medicine for ED right to your front door. Now, the key thing about dealing with any problem is acknowledging and taking charge of it. I challenge you to take charge of your sexual health today by getting help for your ED from Roman. Now, not only did Roman sponsor today's video, they've got a special offer for the Style O.G family. If you go to getroman.com/style, and if approved for treatment, you can get your first month's treatment for erectile dysfunction at $15 off with free shipping. It used to be very difficult to deal with and talk about your erectile dysfunction. Not anymore. Now, there's Roman. Now, next up on the list of the 10 worst relationship mistakes us guys tend to make, not paying attention to her feelings. Now, remember early in the video when we talked about how women tend to see life via feelings through emotions? Being that that's the case, it's very important that you acknowledge her feelings. And it's not as difficult as you might think. Your most powerful tool, active listening. Most of the time, you're not required to do much. Just listen. Most of the time, she's not looking for a solution. Just a safe place to express how she feels. So what you need to do is pay attention and genuinely listen and care about what she's going through. Sometimes she might need some help or a solution, but most of the time she really doesn't. After you've paid attention and listened actively, then you can offer some help. But here's what I caution you to do. Just say, can I or how can I help? If she really needs a solution or some advice from you, she'll ask. But most important, just listen, acknowledge, and hear her feelings. Now, next up is a huge mistake that both parties tend to make during the course of the relationship. Don't make the mistake of not continuing to develop individually. You see, the thing is, when you get in a relationship, a lot of times we put too much energy into the relationship. Yes, you're trying to nurture, develop, and grow the relationship. But within that, don't lose yourself. You need to continue to get better as a man. That still should be a priority. Make sure you're still paying attention to your dreams, your purpose, your aspirations. There needs to be a balance. Yes, you have to put energy into the relationship, but continue to develop as an individual. Make sure you're doing what you need to do. Spend time with friends or family. Don't neglect your hobbies. Have a life outside of your girl and outside of your relationship. One of the ways you can make your relationship stagnant is becoming stagnant as an individual. Another huge mistake you definitely want to avoid in a relationship, not building her trust in you. That's very important for women. One of the most important feelings they can have in a relationship is the feeling of security, the ability to count on you. A real man has integrity. He's reliable. He says what he means and means what he says. Be honest about your intentions in this relationship. If you see it being serious, say so. If you don't, say that. The thing is, be consistent. Don't overpromise. Don't try to be somebody you're not. You won't be able to keep it up. One of the key ways to nurture and grow your relationship, build her trust in you. Another mistake you want to try to avoid, having a one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to women. Specifically, not learning your woman individually. You see, yes, in general, women have things in common, but no two are the same. Just like all guys aren't the same. You need to be inquisitive about your particular woman. What worked for you in the past might not work for her. Another thing, human beings are constantly evolving. You are, and so is she. The woman you met a year ago is not exactly the woman you're with now. You have to pay attention and be aware of your woman's evolution. And if you see some things you don't understand, take the time to ask. No, she doesn't expect you to automatically understand everything she does or who she's becoming. But if you take time to ask her and have a conversation, she'll definitely appreciate it. There are some things women have in common in general, but it won't help you if you don't pay attention specifically to your individual woman. Keep learning her. Now, next up is a mistake a lot of us guys tend to have in common. That's not being romantic enough. You see, in a relationship, us guys have 3 jobs: to provide, protect, and profess. Romance comes under the profess department. Yes, your woman might know you care about her, but she needs you to show her. And it doesn't have to be in some over-the-top way. Occasionally, have a date night. Make sure you're giving her compliments. For no reason, just tell her she's beautiful. You know something else she might find romantic? A chore she usually does? You do it for a change. Every once in a while, surprise her with some flowers. Once in a while, dress up for her. It just shows you're making some effort. And a very easy but simple one, make sure you're telling her you love her. Because yes, providing and protecting is very important, but just as important is the professing. Make sure you romance your woman. Not being romantic enough can be a subset of this next problem: allowing her to feel like other things and other people are more important than she is. This especially can become a problem in a long-term relationship. Sometimes you can take your eye off the prize. You can allow friends, family, your purpose, all to get in the way of making her feel important. It's not to say these things aren't important. They are, and sometimes they might take precedence. The problem comes when you put other things and other people in front of her for an extended period of time. A healthy, mature woman will realize that sometimes she won't come first. The thing is, she needs to feel special. It doesn't mean she's the only important thing in your life, just that she feels like she's the most important. So yes, you have to have balance in your life. You have to have your outside pursuits and outside interests. But the thing is, don't take your eye off the ball. Make sure she feels important. Now, next up is a mistake commonly made by my tough guys out there. You know, you alpha males, that's the mistake of not allowing yourself to be vulnerable in your relationship. You see, one of the beauties of a great relationship, it allows you to let your guard down. It allows you to express the full range of human emotions all of us go through. One of the traits of a truly strong man, he knows it doesn't make him weak to show vulnerability, to show limitations or flaws. You see, when you're with the right woman, she makes you feel comfortable in showing some of your bruises and letting your guard down. And letting the woman in, being vulnerable, builds intimacy. It builds your connection. However, don't be overboard. Yes, express emotion, but not all the time. I give you permission to cry twice a year. But all jokes aside, a great relationship allows you to be fully human. It allows you to be vulnerable. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, as your relationship develops, you don't want to be the reason it doesn't work out. And I firmly believe if you pay attention to the 10 relationship mistakes we talked about in today's video and try to avoid them, you'll be well on your way to a happy and healthy relationship. Now, as always, I'd love to have your input. Let the Style O.G family know in the comment section if there's some relationship mistakes you think I left off today's list.